immediately have to improve upon is our 2-minute defense at the end of the half, at the end of the game. The penalties there at the end of the game, and then offensively finishing off these drives. These 4-point, and they're not all 4-point plays. It's really the first and second down plays a lot of the times there in the low red zone, where we had a chance to put the game away after Gio's long screen pass on 3rd and 15 to go up 11 points, and instead we don't finish that drive. We have a penalty, we have a negative play, and all of a sudden it's a 7-point game and allowed Philly to get back in it, and should have done a better job finishing the game off there.
Zach, is there a common theme to the issues with the 2-point defense? Is it sense of urgency, attention to detail? Is it being less aggressive than maybe than Lou has been at other times in the game? Is there a common theme when you look at all of it?
I wouldn't say there's there's really 3 that you're talking about. The one at the end of the half against the Chargers, then the two in this game, and they're all a little bit unique. Really, the Chargers game, there was just one big explosive play there on the sidelines where we had a mental error where they got the ball into field goal territory to the tight end Hunter Henry there, and then this last game, it really started with the kickoff, put ourselves on the -40 right out the gate, and then the first play they run a trap play and they get us for 20 yards, and so tough start there, and then really the penalties. We're about to get off the field several times there at the end of the game, and the penalties allowed the drive to continue to go. So to answer your question, it's different really in all 3 of those drives, but it's something that we got to really focus in on this week and do a better job and be a little more creative in how we approach practice this week in terms of the 2-minute stuff.
Coaches and players always talk about putting things like that behind you and moving on to the next play, but when you give up points right before the half and you don't have that next play right off the bat, does it linger longer? Does it change the mood at halftime?
Well, I'm not going to lie and say it doesn't. When you give up points before the half, you got a chance to have some positive momentum when you get a score before the half, and it does feel a little bit different, when you give up the points right there. And we got to change our approach to the coin toss. I'm going to keep searching through these captains to find someone that can win us a coin toss. And once they win it, man, I'm going to ride with them until they let us down, because we got to start with the ball in the second half. It's not a make or break it, but when you get points at the end of the half, like Philly and the Chargers have, and then they start with the ball, it's you feel like it's 2 possessions you got to defend right there, and especially if they get points, it's that double whammy. So we're going to be very creative with our approaches there to try to change our luck on the coin toss.
Coach, talk about Carl Lawson. Really played a good game yesterday. Looked like he's finally has gotten over the injuries and settling back into the player he was. That's
correct. It's he needs to show up on all 3 downs for us, and he did that last night, and that's something that's really good to see. I thought overall, again, we talked about getting out there and being physical at practice and being competitive, and I saw that from our defensive line in particular, our whole defense as a whole, but in particular, I thought our defensive line played a lot more physical and a lot more aggressive than the week before. And again, when you get a guy like Mike Daniels back, he kind of changes that mindset a little bit, and it takes the pressure off everybody else. DJ has been giving us everything he's got, and you get a chance to not make those guys play so many snaps, and so that way they can be more physical and come off the ball and the snaps that they do get. And so I think his presence helps, and then overall, I just thought we got better play from that unit. That gave us a chance to win.
Where do things stand at right guard? I know you talked about still kind of evaluating after last night. Where do they stand? Are you ready to make a decision yet, or is that something Wednesday?
That's a Wednesday decision. Not quite ready yet. Keep thinking through it, and sometimes things aren't as good as you thought when you watch the tape, and things aren't as bad as you thought when you watch the tape. And certainly there's some things we got to clean up, but not quite ready on Monday to make that declaration.
Would you consider bringing Alex up from the practice squad?
We'll consider everything. Yeah, that's part of the consideration.
Zach, is this one of those situations where it wasn't as bad as you thought, or as bad as the initial numbers were when you went back and watched the tape?
I think it's all relative in that regard. There's some things that maybe feel worse to me than they would look on tape or look to people who are watching it. Things we got to clean up. Just some mental errors that are unacceptable, and some things that will really help our run game get going. If we do a better job and we're more detailed there in particular, if that's what stands out to me. So again, there's things we got to clean up if we expect to win football games. This one certainly did not feel like a win or a tie. It felt like I felt the first 2 weeks, to be quite honest with you. So, but again, there's enough positives to build on, and we'll build on those this week as we get underway.
Zach, what do you think you have to do as a play caller after these first 3 weeks that you want to do better moving forward?
Yeah, we got to do a better job on some of these explosives. Is sometimes we're about half a second away. So again, being creative and putting our guys in the best position possible. And I certainly don't feel immune. I got to continue to look at things to help improve as a play caller and as a head coach. And we all got to take ownership in what's happening here. And I don't think anybody's running from anything that we can do to improve ourselves.
Zach, I know after week 2, you were hesitant to put a lot of the blame for the pressures and contacts on the offensive line. Does that change after 8 sacks? Do you feel like it's still the offensive line is still doing what you need to do? How do you feel about that unit after yesterday?
Yeah, the offensive line didn't give up 8 sacks. They gave up 4, and one of them was at the last play of the half. When I asked Joe to hold on the ball for about 15 seconds, we had receivers involved. Some were on nakeds, some were on a tight end, so there was a lot of people involved. I know 8 sacks is always going to be a reflection on the offensive line, but that's just not the truth after this game, and again, we got to continue to improve up there. We got 2 guys on the left side there that have played probably combined 10 games of their NFL career, and we're only going to get better, and those guys are accountable to what they can improve on. And so, again, I'm always it's never as bad as you think it is. And there's some things that we're improving on, and we'll continue to improve on as the season goes.
That being said, how do you feel about the amount of times Joe was contacted yesterday? And I mean, did those differ from maybe some of the contacts that he had in week 1 and week 2?
Yeah, I do. We had 2 sprint outs where he got contacted on, out of bounds almost, and his biggest hit of the day was on a naked, where he scrambled on a naked. The line's not really planning on him being there. You're faking to the right and you're keeping the ball to the left. They're not expecting him to be back on the right, hitting an explosive play to TV. That's just what he brings to the table. It's anything's on the table on any given play call. And, he got hit. We got the penalty there. And so, some of those that look really bad are on some plays where we don't necessarily intend on that happening. But, again, that's what makes Joe the player that he is he's not afraid to take those hits and put himself in those positions because it means explosive plays. And there's a balance there of being smart, not putting yourself in that position. But at the same time, I'm screaming at him, throw the ball away on the play where T got called out of bounds. I'm 2 feet from him, screaming, throw the ball away. And all of a sudden he puts a spin move on somebody and gets us a 12-yard completion down the field and turns around and starts laughing at me, So there's just some things with this offense that we're learning. There's going to be some explosives there that are unexpected, and we gotta be able to block for 10 seconds sometimes on some things where you don't think the ball's coming back at you, but it is, and that's part of what's going to make this thing pretty exciting.
Zach, we just had DJ Reader on here, and he was talking about the importance of learning to win, and we've talked a lot about that over the course of this off season. How much does that fall on you as a head coach, and how much is that something that has to come from the players?
Yeah, I'll put it all on me, to be quite honest with you. And it's not just saying, hey, we're a play away, we got to make a play. We got to find the opportunities during the week to get those small wins during the week when they're going to add up on game day where they lead to that one play. And so, again, just as a coaching staff, continue to be creative with our approach over the course of the week and not let things get monotonous just because we do it Wednesday this way. We're going to continue to do Wednesday. We're going to explore every option to help give our team that edge and help find that first win for us, because I do really believe it'll snowball from there.
Can you describe what Jim Turner's coaching style is like in this situation and what you and him are both doing to get more consistent offensive line play?
His coaching style is he's a Marine, and he's going to be very demanding and honest. And, I think the linemen respect that. I've talked to every lineman that's come through here over the last 2 years, and I think to a man they love that because they know what they're going to get every single day, and there's going to be nothing held back. And that tends to be what linemen want, and again, we've you look at Bobby Hart, and it really hasn't had the same right guard next to him over the course of 18 games now. It's been a revolving door there. And you look at the left side of our line, those are young guys that are getting better with every single rep that they take. And we got the consistency there with Trey in the middle. So, again, we're going to continue to do everything we can to get improvement from that unit with every week that passes.
Going back to DJ Reader, well, that little lateral shift he did on the right before the 59-yarder, is the sole purpose of that to try to get a false start, kind of like a hard count that a quarterback uses?
No comment.
I mean, it's a legal move.
It's good job. Good job by those guys.
I know this isn't something you want to have to think about, but when a player like Fletcher Cox gets straight through, Billy holds him probably to stop him from doing whatever he was going to do to Joe Burrow. Is that a just don't hold, or what do you say to a guy in that situation?
That's exactly what I said. And it's a difficult position. I get, you beat pretty clean, and you're trying to not let the quarterback take a hit. At the same time, we saw what the result of that play was, and so we just got to continue to be better fundamentally, first of all. That's the whole answer right there. We just got to be better fundamentally.
Zach, you talked about there just being new bodies next to Trey Hopkins and Bobby Hart at right guard. Is there also a detriment to that as well? If there is that inconsistency of where guys are going to be? I know Billy's repped at 3 different spots in camp. I mean, how does that affect the chemistry and the overall play when you are rotating that so often, which is what Turner's done even going back to his time at A&M?
I can't speak to the A&M portion of things, but, I do think that we're just trying to find the best answer there, and sometimes that's giving guys the reps over the course of the weeks, and then other times it's finding the best solution. So, again, we're just trying to put our offense in the best position to go score points.
Coach, you had to be pleased with Logan and Akeem both made, good plays out there on the field, and talk about maybe the interception Logan had and nice pass coverage by Akeem.
These young players are only going to get better with every week. It's around the league. They didn't walk on the field until July 25th for the first time, and so you're going to see improved rookie play, I think, not only from our team but everybody as the season goes, just the situations they've been in, and they're getting a feel for their teammates. That's kind of the part you felt like over Zoom over the course of the summer we were coming close as a team, but you also realized they hadn't walked in this locker room. They hadn't met a lot of these guys. They still don't know a lot of these guys on the other side of the ball. They don't interact with them that much. And so I think you're starting to see some young players get a lot more comfortable 3 weeks into the season, and they're going to continue to grow. I think at linebacker in particular, Al's done a really good job with that group, and so they're only going to get better. And Josh Bynes is the leader of that group. He does an excellent job of taking those guys under his wing, educating them on life in the NFL and how they should approach their daily life, the communication overall on defense. It's why he's a captain, and I've been just really impressed with his overall leadership with that group in particular.
I know the last thing you want to do is make any injury timelines up here, but, I mean, Xavier Su'a-Filo, how serious is his injury? I mean, do we know much about how long you anticipate him being out?
A couple more weeks. I'm not going to say week to week at this point. It's going to be a couple more games. Sorry, I got thrown off there. It'll be a couple more weeks.
As far as, do you look into going outside of the building for answers at right guard, or do you feel like those answers are definitely would come from inside?
We explore at every position. If of course the waiver wire is in our favor at the moment, and so we always evaluate that to see if we can help our team at any position. So I won't speak to one position necessarily. We evaluate everywhere.
Adeniji, you guys tried him in different places. And is it versatility as a reserve still kind of where he's at, or do you see enough where you could see a possibility of throwing him in the mix?
I think that he's one of those young guys I speak to, that he's been nothing but impressive, and we'll just continue to find the best option there at every spot on the offensive line. But Akeem's arrow is certainly going up right now. He's a smart guy. His approach is the right way. He's playing a little bit there as the extra tight end. In a couple of situations there yesterday. So his snap count has gone up from the second game to the third game. And, again, he's got a bright future here.
Not sure how many broadcast games you've seen this year, but with the quieter stadiums, you can hear coaches' calls from time to time. Is that something you're cognizant of not talking too loudly, calling in plays?
No. I'm conscious of what I yell onto the field. And I'm thankful that not everything's picked up all the time, but that's not really as a play caller. It sounds muffled to me to just begin with the mask on my face and calling through a headset. And so I don't worry too much about maybe there's something out there that I've said that I should be aware of, but I'm not at the moment. But yeah, we do go back and listen, just because you can hear not only what you're talking about with the coaches, but just players in general. You want to know what the other team is hearing when they watch the TV copy.
You could hear Darren a little bit.
Oh, sorry, 2 more minutes with
Always
Coach
heard it.
here. Go ahead.
Coach, your parents may be the only ones that were happy with the tie because they didn't have to show favoritism either way.
You are right about that. Unfortunately, you're right about that. Yeah.
Did those fine letters that went out to coaches catch your attention and have you making sure your mask was up a little bit more?
It does. I think I do a good job of it, to be quite honest with you. But in probably the one moment where I pulled it down to talk about someone, yeah, I can't do that. So, yeah. My wife won't let me.
The tie is like kissing your sister. Is a tie like shaking hands with your brother? I mean, I don't know. What was that post-game conversation?
Shaking hands with my brother. Yeah.
What was that conversation like?
Confusing, really. Again, it's you got to earn a victory in this league, and we didn't earn a victory, and that's what it comes down to, and that's how he and I both felt after the game.
Heck, you guys have done a lot of running on 2nd and long this year. I'm curious what the rationale as a play caller is with that. Is it a matter of feeling like you're catching them off guard a little bit? Is it a matter of just trying to set up a 3rd and more manageable? I mean, what is the biggest thing you're trying to accomplish with that, and how much is it, if you do it too much, it kind of wears itself out a little bit?
Yeah, we're dang near 50-50, as of 5 minutes ago when I looked at that before I came down here. And so you're right. It's a balance of you can't just draw it back and let them tee off. You do want to be in more manageable situation. 3rd and 7 is a lot more manageable than 3rd and 12. I can guarantee you that. And so that's part of it. But there are times you got to be aggressive in the passing game too and go try to get that first down on 2nd and long. And so, yeah, there's a balance there.
All right, Coach. That looks like it's it. We'll let you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Zach.